Hey, my name's Jared Moon, and I'm part of a group of underground athletes you've probably never even heard of before. Most of us don't even have gym memberships. We don't have every piece of equipment known to man, nor do we have a ton of time to train. And we don't need it because we're achieving amazing things without it. We are Garage Gym Athletes, and these are our stories. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jared Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
What's up, Jared?
There you go. I got some...
little enthusiasm.
Yeah, a little enthusiasm. And then we have Josh Pierlott. Man, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I am fantastic. So we just, a little behind the scenes for everyone, we just came off the webinar for the next 12-week cycle, which is an hour-long webinar explaining everything about the new cycles. Most people, by the time they hear this episode, will already have seen the webinar or whatever. But if I'm trying to give myself a little bit of excuse, if I am not with it fully mentally, it's because I just was presenting for an hour and now get to do an interview. But I think I've done enough to where I'm going to be pretty dialed in. So forgive me if I'm a little out of it, or if I ask you a question. If I repeat a question 2 or 3 times, that's why.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm going to let you take it from here. So basic intro, man. Who you are, what you do, how you train.
All right, cool. So my name is Josh Pierlott. I am a garage gym athlete. I'm on the Harder to Kill track. I love it. I own a bread route with Pepperidge Farm. I also work at a physical therapy office, and I also am a personal trainer. So I got a couple jobs.
Wow.
Yeah, staying a little bit busy. Nice.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. So what's your setup like? Like where's the training happening primarily?
Okay, so I'm training out of my buddy actually opened a garage gym style personal training studio recently, so that's where I'm training out of. I'm spoiled. We have a lot of stuff. We have an assault runner, Aerodyne bike, rower in the front, and then in the back we have 2 Rogue squat racks. We have Duffalo bars, cambered bars, and we have a Matt Wenning squat machine. Have you ever seen those things?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty cool. It
sounds awesome
loads
already.
Around your lower back rather than
belt squat.
So like a belt squat
belt
machine?
Squat. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I've played with belt squat machines. Those are they're brutal. They're harder than you think that they're going to be.
Yeah, deceivingly.
Yeah. And how's the assault runner, man? I have not got to play around with that one specifically. How do you like it?
It's horrible. I'd pick running outside over the assault runner any day of the week. It's on a slight incline at the top too, so it's like you're never running flat. It's absolutely terrible.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always joke with Joe. Like, I'm not sure why, you'd ever need one, because you just run outside. But then Joe reminds me that not everywhere is Texas, and the weather can get worse in different areas. So where are you at? Where are you located?
I'm in the suburbs of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. So yeah, the winters get a little cold, and
Icy.
Definitely can't be outside all the time. Yeah, very icy at times.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so what was what made you start down this path of training, wanting to be on the Hard to Kill track and getting into Garage Gym Athlete, all that stuff?
Yeah, so actually my buddy, I used to work at Anytime Fitness, so a Globo gym, as you put it. And my buddy put me on to your podcast, Better Humanology, back in the day, and just like watching you grow. And then I actually bought the standalone shred program initially. And then the 1-man, 1 barbell, I was running for a while. And I was like, all right, I didn't even realize you guys were running the cycles at first, because I was just following that for so long. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been missing out on this opportunity the whole time. So I jumped right in on that, and I've been running Harder to Kill ever since.
Awesome, man. Yeah, sometimes we're not the best communicators. We don't realize it. So we have the paid membership. So the Facebook group, that's a lot of fun where we post PRs and everything. And that's where all of our members are housed. And then we have another one, just because we were getting so many requests from people who weren't members, we opened a different group. And then someone was like, hey, you guys know any like good training, like programming we could follow? We're like, we should really like communicate this a little bit more frequently. Like, yeah, we actually do that. Maybe you should check us out. Oh, like, oh, I didn't even know. That's great. So yeah, that's on us, man. But I'm glad to have you part of the team now and training with us. So what are some of your goals right now, and maybe some of your past accomplishments that you're proud of?
Yeah. So I'm one thing I'm really proud of is why I got into exercising. I've struggled with eating disorders in the past. I've had anorexia, bulimia, all that stuff, and exercise is actually what kind of saved me. I fell into exercising and getting just a positive outlook on my body and a sense of control. And it really was able to get me out of a dark place in my life, which was awesome. And honest to God, listening to your podcast was a huge part of that as well. Like, I used to run way too much when I was still dealing with some of that, but I'd be listening to you and just really made me start to think, hey, let's do this smart and stop doing this the way I'm doing it. So yeah, in terms of accomplishments, that's definitely something I'm proud of. And then
That's awesome, man.
Thank you. And then goal-wise, I actually do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I'm a purple belt in that, and I'm doing some local tournaments coming up, and I've been feeling really strong, and my cardio is on point with the Harder to Kill. Everybody's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Don't worry about that." but I'm definitely utilizing that, and I'm looking forward to hopefully taking some wins on there, and I'd like to get my brown belt in the next 2 years. It's a little hard to get belt ranks in jiu-jitsu. It's not like your typical karate system. So that's definitely something I'm aspiring towards.
Yeah, I mean, it's very like dependent on your specific gym, right? Like they have to they're the ones who promote you. There's not like this, objective system across the United States. It's like each place has its own like way that they bring you up through the ranks. And I know it takes a lot of time, especially once you go purple, brown, black. Like that's a significant investment in time, but you really have mastered your game once you're getting to that level. So that's awesome, man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And there is that dark side of fitness. A lot of people don't talk about it. Chasing body image and getting outside of, what's healthy. And it's this double-edged sword, right? Because fitness and nutrition are so focusing on those things, so good for you, but it taken an overwhelming too far in any capacity is bad. Like I know that's where bodybuilding, because that's what I originally got into, was taking me, was like, a lot of body dysmorphia and like never thinking I was big enough, always trying to focus on that, and just always feeling crappy about yourself, even though like you're gaining muscle and stuff. It's such a bad place. That's really cool that you overcame that. So, I kind of want to dive in that just a little bit more, if you don't mind. So like, what was it? You mentioned the Better Humanology podcast, which I really appreciate, man. And I thank you for that. But like, what made you want to be a little bit more, well-rounded? What was the moment where you're like, okay, maybe what I'm doing is not right?
Yeah. So I wrestled for a while, and that definitely contributed to it. And I was just tearing my body down, like I was running 10 miles a day at one point and not eating. And I kind of hit, I don't want to get too dark on you, but I had some life circumstances happen that I don't mind sharing, but I don't know if you want me to put that type of thing.
I don't mind at all, man.
So my dad actually tried to commit suicide, and I found him. So that's actually what kind of was the nail in the coffin in terms of I need to get help, and I need to get out of this dark headspace. And that's kind of what put me on the road to personal training. And I also have a psychology degree because I want to help people now get through the same darkness that I've been through, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's awesome that you have come out the other end, in a positive note. A lot of people struggle with that, and it's a definite, it's a tough blow. I've had, it takes two hands now for me to count how many close friends, not people I've known, close friends I've known who've committed suicide, either from the military or just friends. And it's a terrible place to be. It can really beat you up. I don't think the people doing it realize how tough that can be on the people around them. And so that is just having dealt with that specifically, I know how hard that is to get through and everything. So that's awesome that you came out on this side of things.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. And thanks for understanding.
Yeah. So, how do you like the training, man? So you've gone through, wrestling, a lot of running, to way more functional in nature. How's that transition been, and how do you like it?
I love it. I feel a lot better. I feel controlled. Like I've played with like Wendler's 531 and West Side, but and you've mentioned it before, it was too strength oriented. And then the running and everything was just too one-sided in terms of just destroying my body. So this is the first time where I feel like I'm following something that actually follows science, and I'm still getting strength gains that are absolutely measurable. On top of that, my cardio I can measure with jiu-jitsu and going out and running if I still want to do that, and it's still increasing, which is just proof that the training works.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome, man. And I'd like to know more about some of the people you train with in jiu-jitsu, because I've just been around those circles a lot. I'm not a big jiu-jitsu guy. I got into it a little bit while I was in the military, but nothing serious. But I noticed there's a lot of people who are like really freaking good at jiu-jitsu. I mean, they could just own me, right? But like fitness wise, I could own them. But they all they ever did was train jiu-jitsu, and they never really focused on the fitness side of things. Is that something that you see where you're at as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. People are always asking me like, "Oh, you're so strong. Like, what are you doing?" And they're asking me for exercise advice and everything. And it's due to the fact that although they're really good at jiu-jitsu, athletically, I'm kind of mopping the floor in that respect, you know.
Yeah.
So
Once
there's
you
definitely a one-sidedness to it.
and once you like sure that up, you know, like there's like, well, that's just how fitness works with everything. Is like they might have more skill than you right now, but your fitness might be like way past them, and like, you know, once your skill matches them, if you can like outlast them, you know, or if you're stronger than them and you guys are the same skill level, it's going to be a no-brainer who wins. So it's just a matter of time catching up on that skill set, which is true of a lot of different sports.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, it's definitely something that, and that's one of the reasons why I started the coaching program too, is because I was like, oh, well, Jared's helped me so much and I can use this to help educate the people that I'm working with directly, you know?
Yeah. And how are you liking the EO3 coaching program?
I'm loving it. I'm learning so much. It's without giving away too much, it's definitely unveiling some things in terms of why and how and where things are placed in the program. So I'm really enjoying everything so far. I'm looking forward to keeping diving into it.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. Well, let's get to these questions. I'm very curious to know the answers to some of them. So what's the hardest workout you've ever done?
All right. Hardest workout I've ever done. I had to think about this for a while, but I'm going to blame you for this one.
As do a lot of people.
Well, this one it's a little off, but so I was like, oh, how do I measure my hardest workout? And I was like, I'm going to think of it from a mental perspective, because physically, you know, when you're done your hardest workout, you don't always think about that physical part of it. But I ran a marathon untrained because I heard you talking about it.
Nice. Yeah.
And that was horrible. It's the first time in my life I was like, I think I got to mile 19 and I'm like, oh my God.
Why?
I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And at that point, I wasn't running a lot. Like probably 6 was the longest I had logged. So I woke up one day and texted a friend. I was like, hey, let's run a marathon today. She's like, what is wrong with you? But I did it.
Well, that's awesome, man. Awesome that you completed it. Yeah, I did that as well. It is not, there's nothing fun about that. It's very challenging and very painful.
For sure.
All right, man. In your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
So I'm going to say the best activity for building mental toughness is to face your demons. I have on my lock screen the quote by Nelson Mandela. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. And I love that quote. And I think it's we all have our demons. We all have our skeletons in our closet, you know. But if you're not willing to face that, and whether that be fear of exercising or fear of facing or confrontation, whatever it is, competition, I think that's the biggest way to become mentally tougher, is to look those things in the eye and say, look, I'm not going to let you win, you know? So
true. And it's very easy to sweep those things under the rug, you know, with how we could sedate ourselves with iPhones and Netflix binges and run away from a lot of things. But the sooner you can face it and get uncomfortable, the better.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. If you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
All right. Again, gave it some thought, but I'm going to go with, so you know how the barbells get the caveat of some plates, right?
Plates, right? Yep.
I'm going to say a weighted vest, but I'd like to believe I can adjust it some, because I think that would be the best thing. Like body weight, I can squat, I can do push-ups, I can do pull-ups, and I can consistently add, let's say we add rocks or sand to it to make it heavier.
Yeah. And so what would be the max weight you'd want in a vest?
I think 80 pounds. I think after that, I'd probably be breaking my traps.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a certain point where it gets uncomfortable. I know I've done like 120 pounds in a rucksack. Ooh. And it's just like, you take it off afterwards and there's just like cuts in your traps. Like it's bad. So I think 80 pounds, you're probably right. It's probably like, you're good.
I'll tell you, the 40 pounds from Stairway to Heaven on Saturday was bad enough. So I think 80 is safe.
Yeah. Awesome.
It seemed like you have everything in your gym and then some, that the resources to, but if you could add something to it, what would it be?
I'm going to say a ski erg.
Okay.
I don't, or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu mat. I would love to have mats in my gym. How about that? That's a little bit more original.
Yeah. Mats or a ski erg. I think they're both, I don't know if have we talked to anybody who has a ski erg?
Maybe one. I think maybe one.
I know Douglas, he was on season 1. He has ski ergs now, but he updated me like after the fact. And that's the only person I know who like has ski ergs in their garage. And I know they're pretty common. We haven't run into it a lot. So I wonder if that'll be the next, everyone gets tired of the rower and they're like, you know what? the ski ergs where it's at. Awesome, man. So a lot of garage gym athletes out there listening to this. What would your best advice for them be?
My best advice for garage gym athletes out there is to get on a program. Personally, I'm biased. I'm going to say something from End of 3 Fitness or Garage Gym Athlete.
I appreciate that.
And do not program hop. That's the one thing I struggle with my clients and all my friends. People want to program hop and they don't want to stick to something consistently. You will reap benefits if you just stick to the program. Stop trying to jump to the next greatest thing.
I'm not going to have to say anything else. Just listen to what he said. Don't program hop. Start and stick, and you'll see a lot of results. Well, Josh, it's been awesome having you on the podcast, man. It's great having you in the community as well. And I just really love where this interview went. So thanks for your time, man. And thanks for being a Garage Gym Athlete and thanks for being on the podcast.
Of course.
Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.